Hi everyone. In our class, I'm using an alternative grading system called standards-based grading. And there are a lot of advantages of this system compared to a traditional grading system. In this video, the big things I'll talk about are what are the problems with the traditional grading system and how is that different from a standards-based grading system? How will corrections and reassessments work in our class? How am I going to compute your grade? And what are some of the key reasons why I'm using this standards-based system? What's the problem with the traditional points-based grading system? The typical course flow goes something like this. Students will learn content for a few weeks, and then they get tested on it. So let's say I was a student in a class like this, and I got an 80% on my first quiz. Well, that means I had a 20% gap in my learning, but after that, the class would likely just move on to the next topic. That's problematic because having those gaps in my knowledge in earlier topics, which are likely more foundational, can make learning later topics a lot more challenging. This process helps identify those gaps in my learning, but it doesn't necessarily help fill them. How does a points-based grading system compare with a standards-based system? In both systems, instructors start with a set of learning objectives, things that they want students to be able to do, and I'm going to call these standards. In a points-based system, students have a fixed amount of time to learn something before they get tested on it. And on the test, they have one opportunity to demonstrate that they are proficient at those skills. So this system doesn't always support student growth because if a student performs poorly on early assessments, even if they put in the work to improve their skills, that early low score may still weigh their grade down. In a standards-based system, students have a flexible amount of time to learn something and multiple opportunities to demonstrate their proficiency. So this system supports students who learn at different speeds, and that helps create a more equitable and inclusive learning environment. There's a lot of research out there about why standards-based grading and similar grading practices are beneficial for student learning. It's even at the heart of Khan Academy's learning model. And this is a thumbnail to a talk that the founder, Sal Khan, gave about the topic.
So how do assessments and reassessments work? We have 13 standards, these learning objectives. Here's a list of our learning objectives. The 11 at the top, I'll assess you on in quizzes, and the 2 at the bottom are based on how you do on homework and participation. I will score each quiz problem out of 4 points using our proficiency rubric. You'll get 4 points if your work is completely correct. I call that proficient. 3 points if you're approaching proficiency, 2 points if you've achieved the basics, and so on based on how close you are to demonstrating proficiency. The most important benefit of this grading system is that you can improve your score on any problem by first correcting your work, and then you'll take a reassessment. That's where I will give you a new problem on that topic to work out. You can even reassess a problem multiple times throughout the course. My one key policy is that you're allowed to reassess up to 2 standards each time we have one of these reassessments, and those will happen in class on Friday. Your grade will be determined according to the following table. A student needs to do all of the items in a particular row to earn that corresponding grade. So for example, if a student has done all these yellow highlighted items, they've met the requirements in each category for an A, and that's what their base grade would be. And then pluses and minuses are determined based on how a student does on the final exam. So if you score between a 0 and a 64%, you earn a minus at the end of your grade. So this would be an A minus overall. As another example, suppose a student has done these green highlighted items. They've met the requirements in every category for a B, so that's what their base grade would be. In fact, in some of these categories, they've even met the requirements for an A, but they don't have an A for their base grade yet because they haven't met the requirements for an A in every category. But they could definitely get there as long as they're willing to keep doing corrections and reassessments. They can continue to build this up. And then this student got between an 80 and 100% on their final exam, so that gives them a plus. So overall, this would be a B plus for their grade.
On our syllabus and on Camino, I'll post a link to a Google Sheet like this that you can use to track your progress on the assignments and on the standards so far, and it'll auto-generate your grade for you at the bottom. I want to end with 4 big reasons on why I'm using a standards-based grading system. The first is it gives you multiple opportunities to demonstrate your proficiency. So it's okay to make mistakes. As long as you're willing to work and build your skills, you can always improve your grade through corrections and reassessments. Second reason is it gives you clear expectations on what you need to do to earn a particular grade. You'll know exactly what you need to do to get a B and to get an A, and I like that. The third reason is it gives you agency to improve your grade through corrections and reassessments, so this rewards you for your perseverance. And the fourth reason is it's important to me that you feel welcome in our class with your identity, whatever that may be. And I want our grading system to give flexibility to all learners, even if they don't get something down initially. I know that I don't always get something right on my first try. I want to create a space where you can work to build your skills and have multiple opportunities to show me what you've learned. And I am excited to work with you this quarter.